There's a saying out of Latin America, you may know, save pessimism for better times. But I'm an atheist now.
But
Question here in the middle.
I want to say one thing is that we are living in an age of uncertainty. And it's the uncertainty that's helping us get off our patutskis and start doing something about it. If we didn't feel the uncertainty, we would be complacent, and a lot of people are complacent, on the earth right now. But probably most of the people who are in this audience are here because they want to find out what they can do because of this uncertainty. So in the film, I don't think there's anywhere that's kind of getting all Pollyanna and like everything's going to be rosy at all. I think, but the one thing that I do want to put a focus on around this whole thing around 2012 is there's all these people thinking, oh my God, it's going to be doom and gloom. Look what's happening at BP. That's doom and gloom right there. I mean, doom and gloom happens. It's been happening. Catastrophes happen. They've been happening probably since the beginning of time. And I think that a focus on the doom and gloom around the 2012 and all the prophecies has to do with our fear of changing, our fear of letting go and holding something else, something new, something unexplored in many ways.
Could be.
And that's what we need to start focusing on. We know what we don't want. Let's put in place what we do.
You mentioned earlier that we're dealing with a culture I like to think of as a fast food mentality. Quickly, let's have it supersized, please, and I can dispose of this. How do we work around a mindset that has disposed of beauty in favor of scenery?
Yeah. How do we work around a mindset that's disposed of beauty in place of scenery? I don't know, sometimes I think that one aspect of 2012 might be an end to tourism, But I guess on a larger level, in terms of the disposable mindset, one thing would be to put in place, William McDonough's ideas of cradle-to-cradle manufacturing. Then people could dispose all they want, but everything they disposed would be, composting, feeding back the environment, So, it may be that if we were to fully apply, the technological genius of modern, the modern psyche mind to these problems, you might see solutions that are almost hard to even fathom, from where we've been. Same in the movie, we have a guy who builds a water-powered engine. It needs a little electricity to start, but so does a car. Then it runs on water, and he points out that we have 900 million, cars in the world. They could actually all be run on water, like these water
On salt water.
Yeah, these things could be put into the tanks, and therefore, you wouldn't, you could do that, and then phase out this whole generation of vehicles. So, it's just that we haven't been in a solution-oriented mindset, and we don't have a civil society infrastructure that encourages us to get together and work on alternatives. And, if we move in that direction, it could happen, pretty quickly.
Just to add to what Daniel said, I studied industrial design and worked as an industrial designer for 2 years, and then what we had, what we still have right now is planned obsolescence. So things are designed to break, so you buy a new one. It's not that we don't know how to design stuff that will last. My grandmother has a fridge that's been running for 50 years, and there's things like that we can see that are even older than that. So it's just a question of engaging. The solutions are out there. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's about connecting the dots. Huh?
Hi.
I met a man a couple of weeks ago. He's probably in his early 60s. He's still got the same fountain pen that he's been using since he was 16 years old. So we also have a responsibility as individuals. I can't think of how many pens I've lost. I don't know where. I'm expecting a room, the size of this room full of pens that just I've lost. I don't know where they end up. But, we also have a responsibility around our own consumerism and wastage, too, that I'd like to put in there.
That's a great segue for my question. First of all, as far as getting involved, if you do not know about the Coffee Party, coffeepartyusa.org, it's about working together, listening to each other, and trying to solve the problems by being involved. So that's a little plug there. The second part is my wife and I are busy. We're working, we're trying to get to work, we're trying to take care of our home, we're trying to do all these things, but we're also trying to be responsible. And it's very difficult in a modern world to embrace a lot of things without going and making our living as an organic farmer. So I'd like to hear what you think, just everyday, especially suburban or urban people, can do to be more involved and to make some change. What if you had 2 or 3 things that you think would make the biggest difference? What would you say those were?
I mean, just quickly, you're talking about being busy. You know, like I lived in New York for the past 7 years, and it's a place where you ask somebody, you know, like, how are you doing? And say, busy, and that's supposed to be good. But I'm from Brazil. If I tell people in Brazil that I'm busy, it's like, man, that's too bad for you. I was at the beach all day. You know, so in many ways, that's something that, you know, it's part of the culture here, but it doesn't have to be that way also. I mean, it's like you're busy, as busy as you want to be, you know, and you can be busy doing other things as well, you know, or like not be busy, you know, just sit around. So I think obviously we have to, you know, we still in this paradigm, you have to work to make money and support your kids. But, you know, start to shift a little bit of your time towards things that, you know, grow a garden or just, you know, help your community garden, whatever it is. You know, it's like small little things. I mean, I was based in New York for 7 years, and we have urban gardens there. There's people growing foods on roofs, you know, so that stuff is happening in the cities as well. You know, I think cities need to become like garden cities in the 21st century, and that's the only way they're going to survive.
I want to say, because I work a lot with, you know, mainstream culture, and I would say that's one of the main things. There's 2 assumptions that people make. One is that it's going to be really expensive, that it's only for the elite, and the other one is that they're going to have to give something up in order to live a more ecologically sound lifestyle. And neither of those are true, because, for example, you might give up, if you're in the suburbs, say, you might give up mowing your lawn, but what are you gaining? You know, raspberries, strawberries, blueberries, apples, pears, plums, and walnuts. You know, so it's a shift in terms of how you're spending your time. And then in the urban areas, Joao was talking about that, is it's really, because a lot of people don't have yards to grow food, but it really is about connecting with neighbors, getting to know your neighbors, getting to know your community. And I just came from Portland. There's a village building convergence going on in downtown Portland right now. And what they're doing is they're looking at cities as villages. And, you know, like any other natural system, things start to bifurcate. If they get too big, they can't support themselves. Like communities get too big, too many people, you can't know them all. People start to bifurcate and become smaller communities and smaller neighborhoods. So in an urban, if you live in an apartment building, get to know the people on your floor or in your building. Get to, you know, if there's a vacant lot, you know, create, you know, or plug into something that's already existing if you are too busy to start anything yourself. And just, you know, once in a while plug in.